What's up, everyone? I'm back at y'all with another video. Now, with this one, I'm going to talk about why Furious 7 is my favorite Fast and Furious movie in the entire franchise. Now, I'm doing Fast and Furious videos leading up to Fast 10. And the Fast 10 trailer drops here in about a few days. I believe it drops in about like 5 days or something like that, which I'm so freaking excited for, that Fast 10 trailer, because I want to give my thoughts on that trailer as soon as it drops. So keep a lookout for that video. But yeah, I'm freaking excited about Fast 10. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, now for this video, I'm going to talk about why Furious 7 is my personal favorite Fast and Furious movie out of the entire franchise. Now, this movie is directed very well. The stuff that James Wan had to deal with because of Paul Walker's death in this film was great. Like, the directing style in this film was great. Every fight scene, you felt the hit. You know, this has some of the best fight scenes in the entire franchise. Like, every fight scene in this movie was great. Every fight scene was intense and directed very well. The cinematography in this film was great. And the camera movements and all that was great in this film, especially during those fight scenes. And then also, I love the opening scene where it's homages to, like, the first Fast and Furious movie about race wars, you know, like the opening scene was great. And, well, there's pretty much two opening scenes, like, but the first opening scene was Jason Statham, with Jason Statham in the hospital. And then, you know, it's like pretty much like a revenge plot. Jason Statham wants revenge because the team almost killed his brother. So yeah, and then after that it cuts to, you know, Letty and Dom going to race wars, and it's like homage to like the first Fast and Furious movie. And then in these fight scenes, you felt every hit. Like, this has one of my favorite fight scenes, actually probably my favorite fight scene in the entire Fast and Furious franchise. And that is the office scene with Hobbs versus Shaw. That whole big fight scene in there, they're putting each other through glass and all that. They're like literally beating the shit out of each other, and that whole fight scene was just so epic, and it's directed very well. I loved that fight scene. And I also loved the fight scene between Tony Jaa and, you know, Paul Walker's character, you know, Brian O'Connor. They, like, Tony Jaa and versus Brian O'Connor, that fight scene was epic. That fight scene was so good. So that fight scene was directed very well as well. All these fight scenes in this movie was directed very well. And then also, like, the scene where Letty versus Ronda Rousey, that whole fight scene was so epic. You know, Letty beat the shit out of the other guards, and then you got that one-on-one fight scene with Letty and Ronda Rousey, which is, that whole fight scene was directed very well and is just like epic and intense. Every fight scene in this movie is intense, and the soundtrack in this movie, amazing. The soundtrack in this movie was so good, and also that end fight scene with Dom and Shaw. That whole end fight scene where they're fighting with them fucking weapons and shit. You know, like, that's just epic. Like, who wouldn't want that kind of epic fight scene right there? You know, that fight scene was so freaking awesome. I just loved the hell out of this movie. And then, you know, there's this one scene towards pretty much the middle of the movie where, well, close to the end of the movie, where Brian O'Connor, you know, is calling Mia, and he thinks they're not going to make it out of this mission alive anymore. And the stakes in this movie were very high because while watching this movie, you know, they were talking about this movie could have been the last one when this movie came out. So we didn't know, like, Brian O'Connor's character could have died, you know, in this movie, because, like, you know, he was talking to me on the phone, and you got that emotional music playing, and he says, you don't think they can make it out of this one alive? And then they're talking about the past of Brian O'Connor, you know, getting that tuna sandwich from the first movie, and all that. So they talk about the past and all that stuff. And then they're sitting there laughing and stuff because Brian O'Connor believes that he probably ain't going to make it out of this one alive. And you got that emotional scene that was very good. That was very, very good. And I just love this movie from start to finish. This movie's never boring to me. I could watch this movie any time of day. I enjoy this movie a lot. And that ending scene where it all led up to, you know, the tribute to Paul Walker. I believe the whole theater was freaking tearing up there in that scene. And you got that tribute to Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, and Paul Walker was splitting ways. That whole entire scene was awesome and emotional, and this movie is just incredible in my opinion. I love this movie. That's why this is my favorite Fast and Furious movie in the entire franchise. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Do y'all like this movie? Do y'all like this movie? I like to hear y'all's thoughts down below. So yeah, I guess in this video, sometimes I go on and off between Fast 5 and Furious 7 of which one of these two movies are my favorites, because I love both of these movies a lot. So yeah, I guess in this video, if y'all enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please subscribe and share. Also hit the bell so you know when the videos are uploaded. Peace out. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace. And also, Jason Statham played a damn good villain in Furious 7. He's probably like the best villain in the entire franchise, in my opinion. I can't get enough of Furious 7. I love that movie a lot.